Yesterday we talked about Baldur's Gate 3 being accused of having harmful depictions of racism in-game or something like that. And if you missed that segment, link in the description, you might want to see that one. You could totally watch this one if you didn't see the last one, though. This is not like a follow-up. This is just a completely different situation, but a bit similar because people are once again accusing Baldur's Gate 3 of the buzzwords. Yes, we're going down the list of buzzwords now. We're playing buzzword bingo, busting out the buzzword bundle DLC or something. Anyways, this website Mary Sue is the article we're taking a look at. Let's get to it. They write with the headline, "This Baldur's Gate 3 plot is unable to shake harmful fantasy tropes." Here we go. You guys ready? Buckle in. Between my 65 hours in early access and 70 hours since release, all still in Act 1, I'm clearly a big fan of Baldur's Gate 3. It's ridiculously flexible for my playstyle, the stories are intriguing, and the consequences feel real. But I'll have to take the word of all the regular RPG players about how boundary pushing this is. As a person who really doesn't play this genre, all I know is that it's a lot of fun in every way. Still, as a piece of art, it has its issues. Since my first playthrough, one major issue in a side plot has disrupted my ability to sing this game's praises without a caveat. That's the implementation of a common fantasy trope steeped in misogyny and anti-Semitism. Oh, okay, hold up. If this is going to go the same direction that Hogwarts Legacy went when people tried to say that was anti-Semitic, we might see a similar thing because there were a handful of non-practicing Jews calling it anti-Semitic, and then practicing Jews came out in a larger number saying that it was not anti-Semitic and that they didn't care about that Hogwarts Legacy stuff. That's why it's like buzzword bingo, because the Hogwarts Legacy thing, to reference that one more time real quick, it was like, first the claims were it was transphobic, and then you had a divide there. There was like some trans activists on Twitter and some trans allies on Twitter who were like all about calling it transphobic and like hunting down people who streamed it, which they actually did. They made a website that hunted people down if they streamed the game. And then they ended up like taking the website down after a bunch of backlash. But the point is, there was still a divide there. There were still other trans people saying that it wasn't transphobic, and or if they thought it was transphobic, they still weren't going to blame anyone for playing it because they didn't find it to be a big deal at all. So then people moved on to calling it anti-Semitic, and then like I said, we saw a bunch of practicing Jews saying that it wasn't. So it was like all the attempts to like smear Hogwarts Legacy failed. The boycott failed. Ended up selling really well. And you know all that. That's history. But the point is, Baldur's Gate 3 is also a wildly successful, massively successful game. And then yesterday we were like talking about this one group's like, oh, it's racist. And now it's like, oh, here's a misogyny and anti-Semitism claims too, you know? Freaking buzzword bingo. I know I said it now 4 times, but like people are so weird. Just play the game or don't. Spoilers for a boss fight in Sunlit Wetlands, Fetid Bog, and Baldur's Gate 3. Well, credit to the article author, or the person who wrote this, you know, for putting a spoiler warning at least. Continuing. Unless they complete the Goblin Camp first, players will find their first major boss fight in the Sunlit Wetlands after passing some roll checks and or starting an unprovoked fight with the strange animals in the biome. The setting transforms into an arid swamp. If earlier conversations or bodies didn't reveal Auntie Ethel wasn't what she seemed, this large-scale illusion in her home does. Turns out she's been making deals with wretched people and screwing them over for her own gain. Her most recent victims' family, Demir and Joel, are desperately trying to rescue their sister, Marina. When you find out why, it goes downhill so fast. I seriously kept telling myself, maybe more context will make this not what it appears. Nope, after exploring the dialogue tree across 3 playthroughs, my fear was confirmed. Blood libel and fantasy again. Oh, it is the Hogwarts Legacy treatment, okay. After losing her lover and father to their future child, Marina works out a deal with Ethel. Ethel, a witch who transforms into a swamp-like hag, will resurrect Connor in exchange for Marina's child, who shall teach magic. Ethel reveals plans to eat the child to make a hag daughter. If this plot of a magical person who shares features with historically anti-Semitic caricatures of Jewish people, trading or coercing someone to give up a child that will be consumed in some way sounds familiar, it's because it is. Oh, hold up. Hold up. Ain't no way the author of this article saw a hag in Baldur's Gate 3, and that made them think of Jewish people. And they're saying that Baldur's Gate 3 is the problem here? If you see a hag and that makes you think of caricatures which make you think of Jewish person, I gotta say the anti-Semite is probably not the NPC in the video game. It might be the person who's writing this article. Like, ain't no way you actually wrote that. What's wrong with you? And obviously when I say you, I'm not talking about you, the viewer. I'm talking about the author of the article, but you surely all understand that anyways. Moving on. The article goes on to talk about blood libel further, and then they say, this trope isn't the only strike against Ethel for anti-Semitism. It's the strongest in a growing list. She transforms into a described less humanoid creature with an elongated nose. There's a literal poisoned well sitting outside her tea house, although the in-game consequences are limited so far. as a fraudulent businesswoman, even with Marina. As you see, by using the wand bitter divorce, Thel also evokes the trope of greedy cheat. If it were just one of these things, it would be kind of iffy, but it's a combination that really makes it hard to ignore. I cannot believe what I just read. This author actually wrote about this greedy cheat trope and then tried to assign that to Jewish people. And then they're trying to say that the game is anti-Semitic and these NPC characters are anti-Semitic, but they're the ones drawing these connections and projecting this stuff. Why would the author write this? This is like a crazy self-report. I cannot believe what I'm reading. I think probably everyone's cringing at this article, especially Jewish viewers of mine, in which case you have my condolences even more so. Like, yeah, let's continue on here. Like when, oh no, it wouldn't be a virtue signal article without disparaging Japan a little bit too while we're at it, right? So, oh my gosh. Like when Japanese media is criticized for problematic content, I anticipate some will think that I'm just projecting American ideas on another country, or that I'm somehow the anti-Semitic one for simply pointing out how this draws upon a millennium of anti-Jewish stereotypes. Bruh, you saw a video game hag and you associated that with Jewish people. Yeah, I wonder why people might think you're the anti-Semite. Oh no. Oh no, they're bringing up tieflings too, just like the person from yesterday. In light of the game's more nuanced takes on other stand-ins for marginalized people like tieflings mirroring Jewish people, Romani people, and black Americans, I'm not even saying that I think the problems with the Thel were intentional. I don't. Even still, intently only gets you so far, because this is only Act 1. I'm full-heartedly hoping something expands with the story to undercut this trope, with letters in and around the tea house indicating similar hags across Faerun. Maybe a sister with a name starting at M, without indicating a congregation or cabal. This could lead to more info changing Thel's story for the better. Regardless, this is another example of storytelling failing to confront underlying issues of prejudice in the genres they're exploring, and even in a game I'm thoroughly enjoying. That's worth discussing. And then they start talking about like that QAnon or canon thing. This person is so weird. But you know what? That's the end of the article. Hey, I got a question for the author of that article. Why did the author of that article start off the article by saying that they were going to talk about misogyny and anti-Semitism? And then they pretty much didn't write about misogyny at all. Who does that? Like, you must hate women. The author of this article must hate women or something. What a like manipulative thing to do. Oh, I care about women. It's a misogynist game, and then doesn't even care, doesn't even write about it. Wow. Obviously, I'm like kidding around a little bit, but like, yeah, that article rather, extremely weird stuff. I almost wish I could like delete the memory I have of reading the article. That would probably benefit me if I could do that, but I can't. So I'll settle with making this video and seeing you guys in the comments. Oh, unless, you know what, if like one of you is like one of those men in black people and you got those things that can erase the memory, that would be great. Definitely slide in my DMs if you can do that, because yeah, that would be much appreciated. But for the rest of you, thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think about this article in the comments, and I'll see you there, as well as tomorrow for the next segment. Yeah, catch you then.